Welcome back everybody, and I hope you guys are doing great. My name is Christopher Burris, and I do gear reviews and different little things here on YouTube, so subscribe if you like the content, and be sure to hit that like button. Back today with another gimbal review, this time of the Zhiyun Weebill Lab, which I have no idea where they got that name, but it's a little weird. Let's jump into it. And there it is, in its awfully compact glory. The Crane 3 will set you back about $900. This comes in a few $100s cheaper at $600. So is it worth the price tag? Well, let's go find out. I believe that this is Zhiyun's smartest gimbal yet, and we're going to go over a few reasons why in this video. So let's talk about the physical aspects of this gimbal, because that is certainly the most unique thing about it. Right off the bat, it has got 10-hour battery life through two 18650 batteries back here, and it has a payload of nearly 7 pounds, which will hold plenty of gear, which is pretty impressive considering its size. Speaking of the size, this thing gets ridiculously tiny when you take the tripod slash handle off. So as you can see, we've got the RX100 on it right now, and even though that's a very small point and shoot camera, it doesn't look out of place on this tiny little thing. I mean, this is a small gimbal, and it's very lightweight, especially with this camera on it. But you can also attach the handle to this little screw hole here on the back and turn it into undersling mode, or underslung mode. It's got a little button here that you can lock this handle on, and so now it won't rotate, which you can then run the camera like this, holding it from the top, which gives you a little bit more stability when doing low angle shots. This secondary handle location can also be used for attaching different accessories, like a monitor. It's actually a very convenient place for a monitor. And there's also a 1/4 thread on the side here. But one of my favorite things about this gimbal is how much thought went into the user experience. Let's start with the axis lock. Let's go ahead and power this thing down. When you're trying to balance one or the other, you really have to fight. You got to hold it in place. But this has got an axis lock. These little red buttons here, you switch that and it locks that into place. It's got another one on the back here. You switch that. That one locks into place. And finally, it's got this one here, which locks that into place. And as you can see, everything is nice and tight, so you can handle one axis at a time. You don't have to have such a fight with gravity when you're trying to get your camera balanced. But that wasn't the only thing they thought of when it comes to making it easier to balance stuff. All of the controls for balancing it are here on this final leg. And what this does, this allows you, it takes a little bit of getting used to first, because it's just different than every other gimbal, but it allows you to quickly detach the camera, and then your other controls can stay put, and it still folds down all the way to fit back into the case. So then when you get on location, you need to set it up, all you have to do is just one single axis, and you're ready to go and start filming. It's that easy. But that's still not where they stopped. If you look closely here at the mounting plate, you can see that it actually is split into two separate mounting plates. You can unscrew this screw here, push the button, and the whole thing comes off like that. But at the same time, it is still attached to the gimbal. So they've got a quick release plate built in to this camera mounting plate. So you can super easily just clip it right back on, and it's balanced. That makes it super easy, super easy to be able to change a battery, change an SD card, anything like that, and put it right back to where it came from, and you don't have to fiddle with any balancing. So it comes in this little foam case here, which it kind of seems cheesy at first, but it is actually very, very stiff, very robust foam. I don't think that anybody will have a problem with durability of this thing. And it's got all the places for all your gimbal accessories. And as an added bonus, it has got little places for you to store your quarters, so you can easily have something on hand to always loosen your mounting plates. Now that's not really a feature, that's just a little added bonus from the casting mold. You can fit like 6 quarters in this thing. So now let's check out the camera controls. I won't spend tons of time on this, but Zhiyun still made this kind of revolutionary, super easy to work with. So there are two main gimbal modes that people use for the most part. There's the pan follow, which is the default one, doesn't follow you up and down. Then there's the full lock mode, which doesn't follow you in any direction at all. Those two can be toggled as easily as flipping a switch, just like that, which is fantastic because most other gimbals, You have to double or triple tap a button for it to get into the mode. You can easily skip past it. It gets super frustrating. There is this Go button here, which stands for their phone Go mode, which I don't understand that as much as I don't understand the Weebill name. You hold this and it turns into a super fast full follow mode here, and it's for panning really quickly, following fast subjects, and also making some interesting fast panning movements. I already said that. There is a POV button here, which you press once to get into the POV mode, and it is a full follow mode with 45-degree tilting to either side. I don't like the tilted horizon in videos, but you can certainly use this to get some interesting shots. Double pressing on that POV mode will turn you into vortex mode, which points the camera straight down the axis of the gimbal, and you can spin it with the joystick and get some kind of cheesy looking shots in my opinion, but if used right, they can be pretty neat. But for full follow mode is where it gets extra weird. There's a trigger here on the front. You have to press and hold that button there for it to be full follow mode, which is a little weird and a little inconvenient because your hand has to be all over the rest of the controls. You can lock the controls by double pressing the live view button there. It'll say key lock, and you're a little bit better off. It does not lock the front button, so you can still run it like that, and it keeps you from messing with any of the settings. With the controls on the back, you can easily change the settings for the camera, the shutter speed, the aperture, the ISO, the exposure value, all kinds of different things. Zhiyun has finally gotten the app to work better now. You can adjust all those things that I just mentioned through the app, as well as the moving time lapse, which seemed to have been a mystery to gimbal manufacturers up until recently, but now it works fantastically. You just point the camera where you want it to go, set keyframes, and it'll pan through those over a given period of time. You can even control the rotate and all kinds of different stuff. It works flawlessly and it is very smooth. You can't see any motor movement or anything like that. It's very fluid. The app has also got a live view mode, which I found was okay if you needed to use it in a pinch. It's nice to have a monitor as lightweight as a phone, but it was a little bit laggy, so I'm not crazy about it. I don't think I would use it personally unless I really had to. So let's throw some cameras on this setup and see how it does. We already know the RX100 works spectacularly, so let's go and see how it actually runs in real life. All right, so I don't know how bad the wind noise will be because it's been storming all day. It's kind of ridiculously windy out here, but this is the Sony RX100 Mark V, I believe is what I have. All right, so now we've got the A6500 10 to 18 millimeter lens on there with the Rode Video Micro in tow. This is your standard Sony vlogging setup. And this gimbal actually even handles it great on the lightest motor settings. What the heck? Go away, wind. And again, we've got the little speed move mode here, which is the go button. And as you can see, it keeps up even on the light motor settings with a camera setup like this. All right, now we have what I believe is like the creamiest, most ridiculous vlogging setup, which is the 16 millimeter f1.4 on the Sony a7 III. Ridiculous autofocus, ridiculous background blur, and with just a little bit of in-camera zooming or shooting in 30 frames a second, crops out all the vignetting and you're good to go. Now for something extra heavy, the Sigma 18 to 35 f1.8. This is a very long lens and a very heavy lens. Okay, so now we've got the Sigma 18 to 35 with the Sigma MC11 adapter, which if anybody is familiar with this, that ends up being a very long and very front heavy lens setup. And this is on the a7 III, Rode Video Micro in tow, and maximum motor settings. And there is still just a little bit of balancing room on a couple of the adjustments. So we're not quite completely maxed out, but we're pretty close. So you couldn't really go any longer with the lens, but you could certainly put a shorter and heavier, chunkier lens or additional audio equipment on this and still get a nice balance and be able to run the gimbal without any fuss. So this thing has been pretty impressive. I was unsure at the weight capacity of this thing, but it goes up pretty high. It goes all the way down to the RX100, which is pretty impressive too. So overall, this is an unbelievably capable gimbal, and the only real complaints I have is the fact that the main handle is right on top of all the controls, and just grabbing it, you can see that you end up moving something unintentionally, and it's a little bit of, it's just a little frustrating there. But overall, this is one of the most innovative gimbal designs that I've seen so far. It's super easy to store, to set up, to take different places. Everything is so fast to get it all balanced and ready to go. It's unlike any other gimbal out there, and it's tiny. Let's compare it to the Crane 2 real quick. There's the Crane 2, which is absolutely a beast. So there they are side by side. There's a pretty huge difference there. So the fact that this gimbal can be this small and pack that much power and have this many features and this many little design changes that make your life a lot easier is unbelievable. And I would say it certainly is worth the price given all that it can do and given the small package that it comes in. So if you're interested in picking one of these little guys up, you can check out the link down in the description. The links down there are affiliate links. They help this channel out, and I would be greatly appreciative if you use those. If you like this video, go ahead and hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one.